Welcome to the Faith and Business Podcast. I'm your host, Elle Edwards, the Happiness Geek from the Faith and Business Playground, here with Bible-friendly brain gymnastics to help you be joyful for Jesus in 2019. In today's episode of the podcast, we're going to be talking about the myth of authenticity, particularly as it relates to this online business world. Lots of people listening to this, I imagine, are online business owners because that's the kind of people that I work with. If you're not an online business owner, doesn't matter. I imagine that you have an online presence. If you've got a Facebook account or an Instagram account, you have an online presence, my friend. One of my bugbears with social media is that everybody pretends to be the person that they think they ought to be. That's not true, actually. That's slightly unfair. Let's rewind slightly. When people put stuff out online, they are choosing who they want to be. And we all try to be real. I'm sure, I don't think there's anybody who wakes up and goes, do you know what? I'm going to pretend to be somebody else completely today. I'm going to choose to be fake. None of us actually wants to be fake. But the reality is we filter, even when we're being authentic. And this is the danger around that word, because in online business circles, authenticity has become a real buzzword. Everybody talks about how they're being real. Everyone talks about how they're being authentic. I don't know if you've come across Facebook ad after Facebook ad with these different experts teaching you offering to show you the behind the scenes glimpse of how they did X, Y, or Z. And it's this compelling thing that you need. Build an email list, grow an audience, sell from your social, all this stuff that's really compelling. And as business owners, we're like, oh yeah, that's really cool, great. But it's always accompanied by behind the scenes. And that's fine and that's great. However, even when someone is being authentic, even when they're showing you behind the scenes, they're choosing what to show you. I could take your photo of my desk right now and show you what my desk looks like. And actually, I'm peeking. My desk isn't too bad. There's lots of stuff on it. It's stuff I'm using, like my computer and my notes for the podcast and headphones and things that I need. But there will be days, okay, for example, I'm looking over there now. We bought from, my daughter loves Primark, like lots of teenage girls. So I took her into Primark last week. And while we were queuing for her to pay for stuff, they had a set of 4 Harry Potter coasters. To be honest, I would rather have just bought a Ravenclaw coaster. As I am in Ravenclaw, I don't need one that says Slytherin or Gryffindor or Hufflepuff, but it came as a pack of 4. And they were £4 before Christmas. They are now 50 pence. Okay. Now, I don't like buying stuff for the sake of it. I don't like clutter particularly. However, Harry Potter coasters, 50 pence. Come on, got to do it. However, if I was going to show you a photo of my desk right now, I got to be honest, I would probably, because as I'm glancing across, the Hufflepuff, the Ravenclaw coaster, you can't actually see it. It's under my notebook. The only coaster that's actually on display right now that you could see is the Slytherin one. So if I was going to take a photograph of my desk, I would put the Slytherin one at the bottom and put the Ravenclaw one on top. It's a tiny, innocuous little thing. I'm giving that as a random example, but it's an example of even when we are being real, even when we're showing you the proper, like the mess, I could show you all the stuff everywhere, I'm still just tweaking it slightly to give you a different impression of me. Not that I would consciously think that you would judge me for having a Slytherin coaster instead of a Ravenclaw coaster, but I want to show my allegiance to Ravenclaw. Do you see how it goes? And yes, like I say, that is a really tiny example. But if I'm doing that, and if I can identify that, there will be other people doing the same thing too. There's like, Instagram is all about the image, isn't it? You've got to have the perfect photo. And I was just scrolling and it's always neat and tidy. I haven't seen a single photograph on Instagram this year of like mess of toys all over the carpet, for example. Maybe that's a reflection of the people I follow. I don't know. But it's always neat and tidy. And that's probably why when I went to the Public Health Wales conference in 2017, and there was a social media input, and Instagram was incidentally rated as the worst for mental health. They did it, I think it was aimed particularly at teenagers, but because you hope as grown-ups, we're aware of this filtering and we're aware of it, of how, people choose what to show up and what to put online. Teenagers, they're aware of it too, but it's different. Your brain is still developing. But even so, whether that study was for children and young people or whether it's for adults or all of us, the point still stands. Instagram apparently is the worst because it's all about the image. And I sort of feel I sit here saying this, and I don't want you to run away with the idea that I'm bashing social media, particularly Instagram. Instagram is my favorite of all the social media platforms for that sort of like getting to know you stuff. I mean, I prefer Facebook, as you'll have heard me say already. This year, I'm using Facebook for groups. I'm wanting to go deeper and getting to know people on a more personal level. And I'm doing that in Facebook groups. Instagram for me is great for showing behind the scenes stuff. It's great for putting out the Mindset Minute. It's great for communities like that I'm not in yet, getting to meet new Jesus geeks, getting to put some of my, the mission, the stuff that I'm passionate about, putting out, snippets of that and finding more people to attract. That's why I love Instagram. So this is not about bashing social media, but it saddens me when I talk to people and social media is making them sad. Social media is making them feel lonely. Social media is making them feel like they're failing. The reality is, you're no more of a mess than any of the rest of us. We're all, like I've said before, we're all just making it up as we go along. We'll have good days and bad days, and good moments in bad days and bad moments in good days, and everything in between. But unfortunately, because of the way the social media platforms work, most people only choose to put out the good stuff. I'm not going to write a post about the fact that I unloaded the dishwasher this morning. I'm not going to write a post about I'm not going to write a post about hoovering up all the wood shavings next to the guinea pig, because it's boring. Much like in fiction, really good stories are real life with the boring bits taken out. That's kind of what social media is like, really. It's real life with the boring bits taken out. We don't show the boring bits. We only show the bits that are noteworthy, story-wise, story-worthy, of interest. We don't tend to, we do put photographs of our food on on social media. We do that a lot, but we make sure it looks pretty first. Do you see what I mean? And so this idea that authenticity, we're all being authentic. What's really a problem with it? Why I have a real problem with how authentic all these online business owners are being is that think about this logically, right? If you believe and fall into the trap of believing that everybody is being authentic, if everybody is showing up and being real, and then you look at everybody else's mess, in inverted commas, you look at everybody else's mess and you realize, oh my word, their mess is nowhere near as much of a mess as mine is. So if they're being authentic and this is their mess, and then you compare their mess to your mess and you realize that your mess is so much worse. And then it makes you feel like, oh, I really am just making a complete and utter balls up of this, when that's not true. They're showing you a filtered mess. They're showing you the bits they want to show you. Do you see? That's my biggest frustration with the myth of authenticity in online business. Because unless we start talking about this, unless we acknowledge that it's filtered, unless we acknowledge that we're choosing how to show up, and that's fine. There's no problem with that, really, as long as everybody knows, as long as we go, right, we all know that we're showing the bits we want to show you, then it's fine. But when we've got people falling into the trap of going, oh, well, my mess is far worse than them, therefore I really am doing terribly, and then we spiral downwards, that's not good. And that's why I'm recording this episode, and that's why we should be having these conversations. As much as I hate the word should, these are conversations that we need to be having, because social media can be used for so much good. I have met so many wonderful, delightful people as a result of social media. My whole business is online. Since I started my online business in 2012, most of my clients this year, actually, let me just check this is correct what I'm about to tell you. I think so. This is the first year, or at the end of last year as well. Okay, at the end of last year was the first time ever that I had a client from the UK. I'm in the UK, as you can probably gather from the accent. For the first time ever, my client wasn't from the UK, was from the UK until the end of 2018. For the previous 6 years, all of my clients were international. And we can do that thanks to the internet. So the internet can be wonderful. Social media, I've got to know some lovely, amazing, delightful, joyful people. My life is enriched and more wonderful as a result of those relationships. But it's as a result of those relationships. Social media is just like the vehicle for having those conversations. And so if we're gonna be able to use this platform and build those relationships more over the coming months, but not have social media harm our mental health, we need to start being real. We need to start being honest about what's really going on out there. I do think the tide is turning. I hope that people are more aware, at least, of mental health, because we're all, even if most people haven't been diagnosed with depression or anxiety, you don't have a diagnosis from the doctor, but we all have days where we're just like, oh, really, I don't want to, or where everything just feels too much, where we just want to run away and hide, but we don't talk about it. And I think we should, hence this episode. There is more to be said on this. I would encourage you, if this resonates with you, if this is something that you are open to exploring more of, because there isn't a fix for this, I think, other than having these conversations. If this is something that you're open to exploring more of, I would invite you to go to faithandbusinessplayground.com. You'll be redirected to my little, at the moment, Facebook group. There's only 40 or so of us in there, but we're having these conversations. We're encouraging each other. We're lifting each other up. Good days, bad days, the in-between days. Being real. We have, for example, Truth Telling Tuesday, where I encourage the members and myself to be honest about what's going on in our heads, to start practicing saying out loud those things that we wouldn't say in the public Facebook page, for example. It's a safe space where you can practice just being yourself, quirks and foibles and all. So if that sounds like something that would benefit you, come on and join us, faithandbusinessplayground.com. In the meantime, thank you for listening. I look forward to catching up with you next time. If you're not already subscribed, please do subscribe. If you enjoy the Faith and Business podcast, please consider leaving a review. Next episode, would you believe it's actually episode number 100? I can't believe it. I mean, that's partly because, of course, in the first, 2 months of the podcast, we had daily episodes. It's only twice weekly now, but still 100 episodes. So in the next episode, we're going to be exploring what we can learn from 100 podcast episodes. So you have to tune in for that one. And like I say, subscribe if you're not already. But in the meantime, smile, have yourself a delightful day. I look forward to catching up with you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.